Welcome into another Holton Ahlers show. On this edition of it, we got the man of the year so far, defense coordinator Josh Aldridge. The defense has been balling, Caiden. After that interview, though, once he finishes, we actually preview the Tulane game, so make sure you stay for that. Here's the interview with Josh Aldridge. Defense coordinator Josh Aldridge, welcome to the show, Coach.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, but I'm happy to be here.
You guys have been balling this year. I feel like all off season. Obviously, you were the new. You brought in a new defense. You were the new defense coordinator. Everyone kind of knew what our offense was capable of, or they had a vision of what they thought it was going to be. And the defense kind of got overlooked, but they're not overlooked anymore. You guys are sitting right here. Caiden has a bunch of stats he's going to rattle off to you here in a minute, but you guys are balling right now.
Yeah, we're playing fairly well. I think you said y'all earlier. There's a big slide every time we have a unit meeting that says our defense. I should have brought it here, but it's got every single player, every single coach on it, and we've all got a piece of that puzzle. And it's regardless if we play 30 guys in a game, we play 11 guys in a game, we're all contributing to it, including Coach Harrell. And so I'm just happy with that so far, but rat poison, whatever you want to call it. We're trying not to buy into that. Yeah, no doubt. No, but and I'm proud of them. That's like just human, error or anything you're trying to avoid is look at, what you're doing well and things like that. You want to really focus on mistakes or, I think a huge part of a coach is fixing mistakes before they happen, right? What are things that somebody could have hurt us on they didn't quite do, right? Yeah. And because that's what's coming, right?
Yeah.
Tulane, whoever it is watching our film saying they could have had them here. Let's go get that. There were 2 passes last week. They could have got us. We're not going to play another option team, but I'm sure there's somebody who can use that for something. So you're always looking for that. And but yeah, I'm proud of those guys and the effort they're playing with.
You talked about Coach Harrell, and you said he's a part of it too. Obviously, he's defense coordinator, he's defensive mind. How involved is he in those meetings throughout the week? Yeah,
he's usually in there in the tail end of most days. And really just getting on the same page. And he's a great springboard for me where I know how I want it to look or how we want it to look. And maybe I don't know quite how they've called it that in the past or this check. Like I've done this check, but I've called it this. What did you call it? What, you know what I mean? All those types of things. And that's what he's great about. And then he's really good for me just from a big picture standpoint, just coming in, listening, saying, I know you're saying all these things, but, you might see it this way. You know what I mean? And things like that. Because when you're outside looking in, maybe you might see something that somebody might miss, right? Notre Dame on offense, it'd be the same way, in terms of run or pass or all those types of things, right? So he does a great job with that,
Is there more stress on you when the head coach is a defensive guy or do you, versus an offensive guy?
I mean, I'm sure. I don't, yes and no. I mean, not in a bad way though. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really because you've gone through it with him and you're on the same page. You know what I mean? You know the calls you're sending in. He knows the calls you're sending in. Like when I've been a D coordinator in the other 2 places I've been, it was with the offensive coach. You know what I mean? And they're just kind of listening, watching the game like it's Monday Night Football. And I think there's less pressure though because when you give up a play or something goes wrong, he knows exactly why that happened, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Versus where if I work for an offensive coach, he might not know quite why that's called that or this, that, and the other. And then when we give up this pass play, he doesn't know, well, that's a beater. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. And stuff like that. So, I think that part of it is great. And then I love between drives, it's phenomenal, because we're talking about, adjustments and things like that. And he clicks over to the offense and moves on and all those things. So, it's been great. I really do enjoy it. Pressure, not from the standpoint he applies pressure, but probably more so just you have a guy that, counting on you that's on the same page with you.
I love that. Yeah, I know you said he kind of steps in there in the meetings, like towards the post ends of the meeting. Yeah. I went against Coach Harrell, and I know he's aggressive mind. He had great blitzes. You also are aggressive mind, have a lot of blitzes. Have any of those blitzes carried over? If he said, look, we've ran this against these guys in the past, maybe you should put this in this week yet? I know obviously it's early in the season.
Yeah, not opponent to opponent necessarily, but like I said, just, I ran this pattern previously with this coverage, show me something where that's that carries over from something you've done, right? Like I've watched all the games from last year and things like that. And, you know, there's plenty that are the same. You know, maybe the coverage doesn't quite marry up, so we adjust it my way, his way, whatever. You know what I mean? But, you know, that's the biggest thing. And then off the cuff, sometimes it might be late in the week, I realize, you know, this is something I think we can attack them with. Hey, didn't see this sooner. Yeah, we've ran this before, bam, and you just roll with it. You know, so he's been awesome in that regard, and I welcome that. You know, I think like you asked earlier, I mean, I think a lot of people would shy away from that. You know, I didn't take the job not knowing that the head coach is a defensive guy. So, you know, I welcome it. It's awesome for me, and it's great for me. So
you, one of like the greatest traits really a human can have, but a coach really can have, is like making people play better than maybe, or to outdo their expectations. And as a walk-on, your expectations, whether people admit it or not, are like just to go in there and hope you get playing time, hope you earn a scholarship, and then work your way up. You have guys on the defensive line that are like legit walk-ons, started as walk-ons with me. That's why I'm bringing it up. Preston and Zion, and then Jackson Barker, who's playing now too. They've have a great role in your defense. They're really leaders in, you know, this defense. How do you think that has like contributed to you guys having success this year?
Yeah, you know, I gotta give credit to those guys. Obviously, I wasn't here for their whole journey, right? So I don't know totally what the work they've put in leading up to this year. But there's some guys I want to give credit to. Is like, you know, myself, Coach Tesh, Coach Williams, and Coach Zachary. Those 4 guys I just named, and then Coach Harrell obviously as well.
Yeah.
All those guys have coached either high school football or Division II football or both, right?
Oh, shoot,
and you're used to developing people, right? I think that's something that gets thrown around a lot in recruiting is, where are you going to go get developed? Well, I worked at Auburn. I mean, like the 4 or 5-star kid, he's not getting developed a whole lot. You know what I mean? He's getting developed, don't get me wrong, to an extent, but he's still one of the best athletes in the country, right? What the high school he went to or whatever it might be, right? Development is what you're saying, going from something to another, right? Whether it's learning the game, playing a different position, the technique, you know, getting stronger, all those things. And those guys I just mentioned, they've done such a great job. Like Roy Tesh does such a great job getting the most out of, you know, like our 2 nose guards, both our nose guards are former walk-ons. Preston and Zion both, okay? Like, I mean, that's incredible. Ryan Roseboro is one of our better D tackles. He played 8-man football in high school. You know what I mean? Like played running back down the street over here. Okay. All right. So I just think that's a big credit to the, and you know, historically that's what ECU's been.
That's why it's fires
what ECU
me up.
is. You know what I mean? That's what's cool about it. You know, we watched a kid today talking about just Eastern North Carolina kids, and you know how that's our niche. You know. And so it's just really neat to see those guys grow that way.
Yeah, that's all. If I literally you saying like the history of ECU, that's literally what it is. That's what makes ECU special.
This podcast is brought to you by Anson Belts. Over 10,000 combinations of micro-adjustable holeless belts. They got everything from the Jolly Roger and Purple belts to a classy business belt. Everything you need. And look, micro-adjustable is literally, instead of a 1/4-inch hole every time, it's very micro-adjustable. It will literally fit you perfectly every time, Caiden. Anson Belts.
All I got to say about Anson Belts is you got to get those. Coach brought us something special that no other guest has brought us. I don't know if he minds me sharing this.
I don't know bring the swag. You're good.
I don't know if he wants good press from us to make sure the press stays good, but I respect it, Coach. Can we talk a little bit about gotta get those and where that phrase came from?
So, like, when I was at Liberty, when I became the DC at Liberty, there was a guy that was real impactful to me, and I think that year was.
Coach, you can acknowledge that.
Oh, you're good. It's on backwards, but that's okay.
On purpose.
Okay. All right, but so I guess it had been 2021 going into 2022. Over 70% of NFL interceptions were tips or overthrows. Got to get those. So it became a mindset that we always talked about was tips and overthrows, got to get those. Anytime you say that, somebody had to repeat it. You know what I mean? And it just became, it became a little bit of a cliche or corny or whatever you want to call it, but they're always talking about it, right? Because when a ball's tipped or a ball's overthrown, don't be surprised. You know, go make it, right? Okay, no offense, I'm sure you threw some picks in your days. And
never my fault,
it'd probably be a great study for you to go back and watch all your interceptions and how many of them were a tip or an overthrow. And I bet quite a few of them are that.
Yeah.
And so it's just a mentality how we play defense. And it's not just interceptions. It's punching the ball away. It's everything. And, the front of the shirt, which you can't see right now, says, I'm just kidding. It says all about the ball. And that's a Coach Harrell thing that was here already. And, we do takeaway drills before every practice with the opposite group. So, like the running backs do it with the linebackers and all those things. And it's just a good emphasis for them, too, right? Taking care of the football, which they've done a great job this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On the offensive side of the ball. So, we've got to continue to get more of those. But it's just a great mentality and just something to emphasize.
So you get these if you get a turnover.
Oh yeah, we got a few different designs. You might get a long sleeve, a hoodie or something. I mean, like you kind of graduate. Like you get the workout gray hoodie the first time, then the long sleeve, then the whatever.
We got to get more interception and fumbles on the podcast.
No doubt.
Bi-weekly.
But now when you watch the game, if a ball gets tipped and we miss it, you say, got to get those.
We're gonna be wearing these shirts. We'll have them until we get.
No, we'll bring them for turnovers, throw them on, go crazy, and do that.
Player exclusive, other than the
No doubt. No doubt.
With success, and you guys obviously defensively are having success early on, comes, we kind of talk about pressure, but the bigger the game, the more people rely on your success.
Yeah.
Tulane, obviously, is the coming up games we're going to talk about is the big one. They're very, very good. A lot of people predict them to win the conference this year, or before the season started. They've looked really, really good, other than Ole Miss, which is good for us because JDB is from there. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on defense to just continue to play the way you have going into conference play. How do you, I know you're not going to dissect Tulane too much right now, but like how are you guys, seeing them on film right now?
Yeah, they do a great job. They're really well coached. Their passing game coordinator, Will Hall, I worked for 3 years and I've known for a very long time.
Nice.
When I was at West Georgia. And, John Summerall's a guy I've been around recruiting and a lot and does a great job. And, they've just done such a great job of not only building a roster, but building an offense and or defense that fits who they have, right? Which is what we're trying to do, obviously, as well. So, I don't know. You're talking about having success and the pressure that comes with that. I think it just makes you, if we're worth our salt, it makes us focus even more, right? You know what I mean? You're having success. You're stopping people from scoring, you're getting these takeaways, you're getting these TFLs, whatever it may be. Obviously, that's going to make somebody dive in even more into your tendencies or whatever it may be, right? So one is players, we've got to focus on the things I was talking about earlier, things maybe we haven't quite given up but could have, right?
Yes, great.
And then, and as coaches, just how can we keep putting those guys in good situations? Maybe it changes a little. Maybe it's the same thing. It looks a little different, whatever it may be. I think our bye week's coming in at a great time, though, too. Winning that game we won last week, going into a bye week, you're almost kind of, even though conference play started last week, you're almost kind of like new season now. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a good deal. So I'm really excited about it.
Sure, okay.
When you have a quarterback like they have, really solid, who you've seen, I've watched a lot of his runs, comes from him rolling out, passing, and then he just pulls the ball down. How hard is that to defend as a defense coordinator? Because offense, it's so much fun. You're like, we got him dropping back, and then once they drop back, you have a quarterback kind of like you who can just pull it down and run. But
well, the first thing was, we do most of our first half of our season, we'll scout this out in the spring, after spring ball. So I'm sitting there preparing for this guy at BYU.
Yeah.
And then I hear he's not going to be there. I'm like, yes. And now he's too
Conference
late. so we're still playing him. But, no, he's a great player, man. Does a great job. I think he's got 7 touchdowns with his legs right now and only 2 passing. But he throws off some incredible platforms.
Yeah.
I mean, like, not that he is Patrick Mahomes, but I'm talking about, like, his arm angles are really impressive, And so you got to account for that. And then they really do a great job of running the football, which allows him obviously to have advantageous situations, right? That's really what I notice when I watch him on film is they do a great job of running the football, which opens things up for him in coverages that you need to play to stop the run, right? To create one-on-one matchups and plays down the field, right? Because they are an explosive offense. They're really good at receiver.
Yeah.
And then they have a lot of schemed up ways to take advantage down the field. So
when you I want to get into just like your mindset going into games because like as an aggressive defensive coordinator, I want to hear because I know like offensively you like have your script and you're going to attack the offense. But I know defense most of the time is reacting to the offense. But as an aggressive mindset, how does that change for you guys, especially early in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless early or late, I think the first thing you always evaluate is what can our guys do well?
Yeah.
No matter what you line up in, what can our guys do well, right? Not just the scheme, but this person doing that, his traits, all those things. I think that's where you start. And then you peel back, what do they do well that you need to take away, and what marries up with that, right? Like, what do we do well that can take away what they do, right? And then you graduate to, scheme week to week, like new wrinkles, like what can we handle, right? But I think you're missing the boat if you don't start with just what do we do well, right? From an aggressive standpoint, it's the same thing, right? If I'm going to be aggressive, then doggone it, we better know exactly what we're doing. They're about to throw it over our head or it's going to be a big play, right? And that happens sometimes, and but I think, we talk about havoc a lot. I think I might have said this the last time I was here. Havoc is a tackle for loss, a sack, a PBU, any type of takeaway, and a hurry, okay? Yeah. If you get any of those things over 25% of the time, over the last 10 years, you average over 8 wins. Okay. All right. So 25% havoc. That's like an analytics thing, right? Okay. If you're over 30%, you average almost 10 wins. Okay. I think right now we're a little over 25. But like that's our goal is we want to be over 25% havoc. Right. Well, to create havoc, takeaways, things like that, that's what you have to do. You have to be aggressive. You can't just sit back and do all those things. So I think it's situational, obviously, field zone, whatever it may be, all offensive guys have some type of tendency, probably, and we probably have plenty of them too. Yeah. But that's really just how I measure it. Is first, what can our guys do well, no matter what they do, right? Because you're going in a little blind, especially early in the game, like you're talking about. And then what do I need to take away, or we need to take away that they do well, right? Make them play left-handed.
You talked about, and Caiden, sorry, I'll let you get to the next question.
Is your belly rumbling? Are you hungry? Where should you go for dinner or lunch today? That's right, Sam Jones Barbecue, the best barbecue in Eastern North Carolina. And what's great about Sam Jones, on your total order, if you round up, they're donating to 2 Eastern North Carolina Make-A-Wishes, so 2 people can have special wishes come true. When you go to Sam Jones, round up and support Sam Jones Barbecue.
Tendencies is like a huge thing during the bye week. You like look back at like what you've ran, especially
self-scout.
Yep. How does that, is that one of those things where like you have a GA? I mean, obviously you'll look at it for, do you have a GA look at that like week to week, or you might not want to expose it too much now? I mean, I don't know, but it's just like how often are you guys looking at that and saying, okay, we might need to change this look just to make it a little different?
I'll glance at it week to week. I won't base a ton off of it, especially early in the year. But during the bye week, it's a huge deal.
Yeah, that's the time to,
whether it's field zone, down and distance, formation, whatever it may be. I think you're doing a disservice if you don't do that, 100%. Right? Like, because you're trying. Like we talked about that. We're going to work on that this week. We're not only working Tulane, you're working like things you've struggled with, right? And whether it's something that Tulane's going to do or something that somebody else is going to do, that's a great opportunity to do it, right? Because you got extra practice. Time. So week to week, no. We're obviously trying to make corrections, but holistically, do we have this tendency or whatever?
Checking that,
no, but right now, definitely, for sure.
Okay.
Where's a lot of your like defensive strategy or some of the most inspirations to your coaching come from?
Yeah, we talked about this last time. So I'm really blessed. The 3D coordinators I've gotten to work for in my last 3 stops have been Scott Simons, who's one of my best friends, that's DC at SMU. He's one of the best DCs in the country. Ron Roberts, he's DC at Florida, and DJ Durkin, who's still at Auburn right now. I think they're like second in the country or second in the SEC in defense. So I took something from all those guys. Some of them it was more leadership, some of them it was more organization, some of them it was more schematics, right? But that was a huge deal for me, man. I just got to see so many guys do it so well, right? Yeah. And I got Scott left Liberty to go to SMU, and I became the DC. So I kind of carried that system over, put a little more flavor to it. Honestly, similar to this, it had a lot of his stuff in it because we had been there for 4 years, but some new things that I felt helped us make us better. And then I went to Auburn with Coach Roberts and Coach Durkin. And so just those guys. And then Blake, I mean, truly, like in the however many months I've been here, Blake's had a great impact on me. Just seeing things through a different lens, whether it be good or bad or adjusting to your personnel or all those types of things. So
when you talk about those guys, how do defense coordinators? I know offense. A lot of times people think of it as like a chess match almost.
Yeah.
Do you think of a chess match, or like when you think of the game? Because honestly, when I look at you right now, I have to see like a boxer and like it's a prize fight.
There is. Especially with these iPads nowadays. I mean, the coaches. I mean, everybody's got them. So
crazy.
you imagine when you were playing quarterback, if you could go back and watch the coverage, and so
coach. I'm glad there wasn't Coach Caiden.
And truly, like going back to something you mentioned earlier, that's why you have to be multiple on defense because. Gosh, any offensive coach worth their salt, if they can go back and know exactly, that could have hit in the B gap, or that could have had that. You better mix it up because it's coming. Because I coached that way for a long time, and I know you played that way. Is you're just sitting over there hoping the receiver didn't lie to you, or hoping the coach saw it right. You know what I mean? So that's a huge part of it, right? So I think you have to play the chess match.
Yeah.
But you got to have a lot of, you said boxer, a lot of haymakers in there too.
Looks like you throw one right there.
Yeah, correct. So, I think that's part of the aggressive part is you've got to carry plenty of aggressive things is, okay, just because you saw that one doesn't mean you don't have this or all those types of things.
No, this is pretty much all I got. Can you got anything else?
I don't think I do. Coach, it's been a pleasure, though.
Appreciate you guys, man. Yeah, man.
Hey, keep killing it, too.
Yeah.
I'm pulling for you
We'll
guys.
do our best, man.
Yes, sir.
We'll do our best. Tips and overthrows.
Tips and overthrows.
Gotta get those. He got it. He got it.
We did that in Seattle when I was there with the Seahawks.
So that's who that came from.
Really?
That's where it came from.
No way.
Wow. They're the people who did that study.
Yo, Holt, what's the best sub in Greenville?
Okay, the best sub in Greenville is Jersey Mike's in exclusively the Greenville Jersey Mike's locations. We love Jersey Mike's, Caiden. What is your favorite thing at Jersey Mike's?
I like to get it Holt's Way.
That's right, Holt's Way, a.k.a. Mike's Way. Mine is Mike's Way with a giant club sub giant. Come on, we're Americans. We like to eat. Visit any Jersey Mike's location in Greenville, North Carolina to support the pod. Okay, what an interview. First of all, I want to say shout out to him. He's our first guest that has brought us gifts. He brought us gifts, not only just a gift, but exclusive gifts to those who get turnovers from the ECU football defense. And somehow we got to get those.
We got to get those.
Tips and overthrows.
Got to get those.
Yeah.
I got mine off a fumble in the podcast studio. Coach, before he walked in, threw a ball down, dove on it. He gave me a shirt. And then Holton, he threw one in the air. I tipped it. Holton caught it, and he got his shirt. So he got his off interception.
Yeah.
All right here in the podcast studio.
Yeah, he just happened to have him in his truck and came and he said, 1 second, you guys a shirt, you got to turn it over. So.
This is pretty. I am expecting gifts from anyone else that comes in person. So I think that was the best PR stunt any coach could have done because I will never speak on his name now.
We never spoke on his name before they're balling. And
I know, I'm just saying, never will.
All about the ball is the front, ATB. If you're looking at Caiden right now, we'll cut to Caiden. If his shirt looks a little odd, it's because he has it on backwards. I didn't know if that was stated or not in the interview. But respect for Caiden. I respect you for that. How did you feel about I'm just gonna tell you how I felt actually before telling you that I think he is amazing. The statistical mind he has, you can tell, and him doing research about got to get those tips and overthrows and 25% havoc and all that. You can tell this dude is going to be a big time defense coordinator one day, and we're lucky to have him here.
Yeah, he's locked in. And one thing I love is just like I feel like all coaches do this, but he really made sure to give like his support staff credit, name those guys off. And the only thing I forgot was, we are lucky at ECU, the history of just getting those blue collar, gritty guys and developing them in an era that's so overlooked. Like no one thinks of that anymore. Of really realizing we have coaches that come from the high school D2 level that actually know how to develop guys, like he said, and having guys here that stayed walk-ons, like how crazy that is in the college level to have walk-ons rise up to be like starters and effective leaders on a team is so under recognized and understated. And him just calling that out is something that's really special, and I think aligns so much to our culture that I think has been overlooked a lot this year.
And why he's successful here and why Coach Harrell will be successful here is because he also mentioned that is historically what ECU is known for. And that literally gave me chills when he said that because I'm like,
we have a staff in here who knows exactly how to get this place back to where it's meant to be.
I agree, and he kind of looks like a UFC fighter. I thought he was going to put me in a headlock when I took my shirt off. I don't know if we got that on camera. When I took my shirt off, he did not look happy I did that.
He liked the shirt. He was
did like the
you
shirt,
up. Yeah.
but I don't know if he liked seeing my whole stomach out. That could have been it.
So let's talk to the Tulane game real quick. We talked about him. Let's dive into it and just kind of our analysis of it before we obviously finish the pod. How are you feeling about the Tulane game?
I will be honest. This is probably the scariest I felt for his defense all year. Just off how good Jake Retzlaff was, if I pronounce that right. I struggle sometimes, but he is like, when we talked about this, when we previewed the beginning of the year, we knew he was the best quarterback. And when he left BYU, I think we all were like, thank God we don't have to play him. That makes BYU
just
game
like Coach
easier.
Aldridge said,
exactly. Yeah. And now he's in probably the most important game of the year for right now. After this, of course, every game gets bigger, but conference play, it's totally different. And he's just such an effective, like he said, Coach Aldridge said a minute ago, just throwing the ball. And I think he made like an ESPN top 20 play this year. He's just so effective at just not even game managing, but making those creative, crafty plays. And he's their leading rusher on the team. He has 7 touchdowns this year. One thing I like about our defense, though, is how good we are against stopping the run. I think that's one thing we've been really effective at this year. And not only that, is creating 9 turnovers. That's 7th in the country. If we can just make someone like that turn the ball over, someone that's going to change the game, change it in our way, I feel pretty good about the defense. Offense, I think it's the same story all year. It's the same story. This is the one game we need the offense to play the most consistent all year. Because if we come out and play consistent, I think we have a defense, even though we're probably more worried about them because they're playing the best quarterback I think they've seen all year, that the offense can come out and have their back in the game, I think we sit pretty well.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel good about the defense. I will say, if they sat here and had a running, and they have a good running back, but their quarterback, like you said, is their leading rusher. He has 7 touchdowns. He's a stud. We're big on him.
Yeah. Averages 6 yards a carry.
Yeah. One thing about that, though, is I think, and we should have asked him this, honestly, is as a defensive coordinator, I think it's easier to prepare for a running quarterback that he is the leading rusher. Now, if he was like a quarterback where it's like kind of even, like he is known as their leading rusher. Going into that game, he's going to get carries, he's going to scramble, he's going to do things, so you can prepare for that. If they had a 1,000-yard rusher plus a quarterback who ran for 500, I think that's harder to defend because then you got to kind of defend both. They can commit, and I think he said he had 2 touchdown passes. I would just commit to stopping the run and make him throw the ball. The good thing, or the bad thing about it is he can sling it too.
Yeah.
He just hasn't had to this year in their games that they've won. He's looked great all year. They didn't look good versus Ole Miss, and we can talk about that a little bit. JDB bye week. JDB's had a whole week to look at Ole Miss's film, which is where he came from. It's very similar offense, and is going to be able to dissect and have conversations with Coach Kiffin or whoever's the OC there now and talk to these guys and say, okay, what were their weaknesses? Who are their players that maybe you guys wish you could have exploited more that you didn't? And then you get to go from there and you get to take that advantage. So he gets to bounce his ideas off of these Ole Miss coaches' minds, which is great. But Tulane's got a good coaching staff too. And you just heard Coach Aldridge say they look at, like, defenses will also look at, okay, we haven't gotten hit by these, but what could we get hit by? Tulane's doing the same thing. So we can't go out there and just say, hey, whatever Ole Miss feels like we could have done, they could have done better. We can't just go do all of that because Tulane sees that too and knows that JDB's from there. They're going to make adjustments.
That's another thing I actually forgot about was just like bouncing ideas off the Ole Miss staff.
Yeah.
Like that is such a factor we have in this game that I totally just like overlooked and forgot about. That
it's because you don't know ball, bud.
Oh, this guy. That's the guy who went 1-4 and bets last week.
Did you see that, guys? He had that loaded in his back pocket.
1-4. You don't know ball, but
okay.
Come on, I haven't had a losing week all year.
He's talking about bets. I had the worst bad beats of all time. We're ADHD though. Get back to the conversation, then we'll get to best bets.
Well, I just forgot where you were. You just came at my ball knowledge. I came right back at your
talking
ball
about
knowledge.
Ole Miss and like having conversations and like talking with other staffs. A lot of people don't realize this. Coaching staffs talk to other staffs on Sundays and Mondays from other teams who have already played them. The connections in the coaching world are insane. Like he was just saying, well, I know this coach at Florida, this coach at Auburn, this coach at everywhere. Like coaches know coaches from everywhere. We have connections. So let's say like Ole Miss obviously is a clear example, but they've also played Northwestern. Well, there's probably a coach on ECU staff that knows a coach at Northwestern staff. So what the ECU coach will do, he'll reach out to them. It's completely legal. Reach out to the Northwestern staff and say, hey, what do you got on these guys? How did you feel about it? Going into the game, what did you think? When the game happened, what did you think? When you left the game, what do you think you could have done better or could have exploited more? And that's how you game plan. You use that knowledge, then you compare it to the film, and you say, okay, he's right. We need to attack this way.
And I think even more now, and I know we're not that far into it, but conference coaches probably do it more to make sure, hey, I don't want this team to win or help the other team. They have better connections. I feel like you see those coaches at different conferences each year. You want to make sure you set your team up for the right winning. But I always, that's one part I think people forget about is how much the connections are and the talk happens through there. But what are you the most nervous about the Tulane game? I know I talked about what I was nervous about. What is like keeping you up at night?
Nothing's keeping me up at night about football. That's why I retired. That's why I'm so happy we do the podcast for fun right now. But if I was playing or if I was a coach, or I would say a coach, what would be keeping me up at night? Inconsistently of running the football. Good teams, you got to be able to run the football to win games. We saw that versus BYU. You saw that versus NC State. NC State, we had 1 yard to get. We ended up passing it, which I'm totally fine with. But if you had a great running game, you would have ran the ball and got the first down.
Like Coach said, I asked him why is Rizloff so good. He has a great run game. He can bounce off of that opens a pass for him. Yeah, he has it. That helps him out so much.
Yeah, so the run game worries me. I think you're eventually going to have to find. I think this team, the ECU, can make a run at the conference. You look at the schedule, even if we lose this game, which I think it's a toss-up. If you win between Memphis and Tulane, technically those are the only games we probably will be underdogs. Like, you just got to win one of those, and you'll have a chance at the conference championship if you finish business the way you're supposed to. But you're still going to have to run the football. Like, you got to run the football. And I just think the inconsistency right now of like half to half, even quarter to quarter with this offense scares me. And I don't think it's the players. I think it's just the play calling. I think it's the philosophy of, are we aggressive here? Are we not aggressive? I think there's a huge change of aggressiveness between quarters, between drives even. Like, if we keep the same aggression, which I understand sometimes you can't be ultra aggressive, but like this offense is built on speed and being aggressive. I'd like to see us do that. I would like to see us play to the strengths. We talked about that, how the defense right now is using the players' strengths to their advantages. And he went into real detail about it, about how they're doing that. And I think offensively, if we can do that, which we have done some with JDB, we look amazing. And we know where our strengths are. Our strengths are letting Caiden Hauser drop back and letting the offensive line pass pro. That's their strength. Letting these receivers go make plays, that's their strengths, and getting into more detail about it. But, like, just let these guys just go out there and play free and just go score points.
I really don't want to see 50-plus run plays again, like the Army game.
Yeah, not good, bud.
I don't think we'll beat Tulane with 50-plus runs.
Yeah, I think we're going to at least have to throw 2 touchdown passes to beat them and at least have 1 turnover. We're going to have to be +1 in the turnover battle. We're going to have at least 1 more turnover, like, on our side. So, we'll see, man. Good episode.
Let's talk about your bad beats last week.
Bad beats. Had 6. I went 2-4 actually. 7-4. Went 2-4.
In your sports betting. That's what we're talking
sports
about.
Betting. Bad beats. I had 3 that I lost by 0.5.
Oh, you took the odd numbers.
I do a mare because I know you move the line and stuff. I don't do that.
No, Caesars. You get full numbers. What games were they though?
Oh gosh, I can't remember now.
One was Tennessee.
Tennessee, I had 7.5. They won by 7.
And Tennessee was covering for a little bit.
Yeah. Tennessee, I don't know. Check on our Twitter at Ahlers Show. Follow them.
No one had a worse bad beat than me though.
Your bad beat was you should get your money back.
I should get my money back. So I'll tell you guys on the show. I had Indiana -7, which it was -7. Personally, I had them 6.5, but I wasn't going to post that for you guys because if you follow the bets, wanted to make sure you guys had 7 because that's what it was at the time. Indiana's quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, who I'm a huge fan of, was at like the 40-yard line. They were up by 7 and 3 seconds left, 4th down. What do you do as a quarterback? What do you do?
You just drop back, just roll out a little bit, then throw it out of bounds. Call it foul ball.
You wait.
Foul ball left, roll or roll right. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't like this conversation?
No, dude.
What does Fernando Mendoza do? He gets the ball and sprints backwards
40 yards.
40 yards for a safety. The clock was on 0 at the 20-yard line, and he just kept going.
Did you watch it live?
Yeah, I watched it live.
Oof.
People were upset. They wanted an investigation. I'm not calling for that, and he apologized, but that might have been the worst bad beat I've ever taken in my life.
I agree, bud. Bad beat. Better luck next time.
All right, Mr. 2-4. Maybe he'll do better next week.
Tips
Gotta
and
get
throws.
those.
Yeah. Thanks for joining.